A really good practice is to check your property really well now, or even if, if you're opening up a cabin, if you're moving into a new place, like really do a good walkabout of that area and make sure that there's no place for wildlife to enter into your home. A lot of people are very tolerant. They don't mind wildlife under their old barn or even in their old barn. However, now is the time to prevent it from happening. It's all about prevention. So it'd be really, really good for people to do those walkabouts and to be aware of what's going on. The other thing I think that might be going to happen more this year, there's so many people off work and at home that they're thinking about gardening for the first time ever. And they may not realize that you've got to do a clean sweep of your property and really check it well for ground nesting animals. Everything from snowshoe hares to many birds build their nest right on the ground. So don't dig out the mower or start whippersnipping without doing a really good check around. You can save a lot of babies that way just by checking. If you find something, leave it be, and you can come back to it in the fall. So it's really important. The other thing that people are doing is planting gardens, and it might be flower gardens or it might be vegetable gardens. But don't think for a minute that you're going to plant this garden and wildlife is not going to want to enjoy it. So think ahead. You're going to have this problem, build your fence or do whatever you need to do, but think ahead. Of course, wildlife is going to come and enjoy nibbling on your new endeavor. I always encourage people to live with it if at all possible, but I totally understand that people will not tolerate animals in their house, in their actual living space. A lot of people will tolerate the animals underneath their deck because it's a very short period of time, or underneath an old building. So number one is, if you can tolerate the process, enjoy the process. You can learn a lot from watching nature, you really can. But obviously if it's in your home, the best way to deter or to get the wildlife to move along safely is not live trap, but set up a way to irritate the neighbor. Say it's a raccoon in your attic. They pick that spot because it's dark and quiet. So you want to basically make it brightly lit and noisy. So put a radio up there, maybe a nice bass beat that might scare the animal and make him uncomfortable, and also a light. So you've taken away the two things she really wants, and that's quiet and dark. So then what will happen is the mom will usually move her babies. And the other thing to keep in mind whenever you're trying to move wildlife along is she probably has babies this time of year. So you've got to give her enough time to do the move. It could take a few days. Don't expect it to happen just overnight. So give her time to move the family along, and just think, what is that animal seeking on your property? Maybe there's garbage, next door or something, and the animals are coming for that reason. So clean up, do whatever you can to prevent it from happening, and then if they do come, gently encourage them to move along. I think I'll be giving out this formula a lot this year because so many people planted gardens. So this works really well. It doesn't hurt the environment, and it doesn't really hurt the animals. They just really dislike it. So you take equal amounts of castor oil, water, and dish detergent, and just mix it up, and you spray that over your garden area on your plants that you don't want the deer eating. So it's a safe method. It's castor oil that you buy at the drugstore, and you spray that down, and you might have to do it every day, but it takes less than a minute or two every day, and it really is a good deterrent to keep the wildlife at bay if it's not something you would enjoy having in your yard. Every species is different. It's so funny that you asked that because we had a call yesterday on a baby porcupine. And, oftentimes babies are alone. Like a baby fawn should be alone. Mom only comes in to feed usually at dawn and dusk. So if you see a little fawn sitting quietly by itself, that's perfectly normal. But a baby porcupine, on the other hand, by itself is not that normal. They usually stick really close to mom. And usually if you look around or look up in a tree, you will see the mom close by. So every incident is different, and every species is a little bit different. So it's always good, before you get involved or touch or get involved with that animal that you think is an orphan, if you call a wildlife rehabilitator. And oftentimes they have really good advice on their websites too. So check it out before moving forward. It's just a myth that human touch interferes with the process. Most mothers are very good mothers, and human touch does not cause the mom to reject that baby. However, what it does do, say you go up and see a fawn and you touch it and you get a smell on that fawn, now a predator is going to know where that fawn is because you've now put odor on that animal, but it will not cause the mom to reject it. And same with birds. Most birds have a rather poor sense of smell. So picking up a young bird that may have fallen, that's too young to be out of the nest, and simply placing it back is an okay thing to do. That's one thing that we thought we would notice is less hit by cars. And so far, there has been less, but it's still early in our season here in Nova Scotia. We are seeing baby mammals come in. We've had baby squirrels, baby foxes, baby raccoons, but no birds yet, and no turtles yet. So we are hoping, even though we do still see quite a few cars on the road, less at night. And that's usually when a lot of these collisions happen. So that could work out, in a really good way for nature and wildlife if people are traveling less at those dawn and dusk times that wildlife is on the move. Really, the most important thing you can do if you find an injured animal is to get it in a small cardboard box and with a towel and keep it warm until you can get it into a wildlife rehab center. Feeding is probably one of the worst things you can do, even though you instinctively feel, oh my gosh, this animal's starving, I better give it some food. Usually they need to be warmed up first before you can even think about food. And then secondly, they need to be hydrated. So feeding food to an animal that is already dehydrated can cause death. It can be quite serious. So getting it in a cardboard box, call a rehabber. And one of the things you can do that really helps a wildlife rehab center is getting it dropped off. We spend a lot of times doing pickups, and we understand not everybody even has a vehicle to get the animal to us. But if you can, it's such a huge help when that happens. At a wildlife rehab, probably the two most important things, when it comes to the medical care, it is the medical care and the diet, the nutrition. And feeding incorrect diet can have really serious effects, and also the stress of the animal. But diet is so important. In a lot of people think bread is good for birds, and it's really not. Same as they think apples and carrots are great for deer, because it's like feeding them candy. Of course they're going to love it. It's sweet, it's full of sugar, but deer have very complicated digestive systems, so it's not good for them. We do. Our website is fully equipped, Wildlife SOS, and it answers a lot of the commonly asked questions. Also on our phone system, there's an option that you can listen to some of the commonly asked answers to those questions. And people have really found it helpful. So it helps us because we get behind. So sometimes you might have a little bit of wait to get through, but we try and answer quickly and efficiently. But for those times that we're a little overwhelmed, you might find the answers you need on the website. What we want to do is to remove myths and replace it with realities and facts, and know what to be worried about in nature and what not to be worried about. And yes, there are things you need to worry about, but there's also so much beauty just from enjoying nature from afar. And we want people to enjoy nature, learn about it in a safe way. The simple things that families can do is plant bushes and trees that bear fruit and berries. And that's a really great way to attract nature. It's better than actually feeding it with a bird feeder, because a lot can go wrong when you do that. So just, cover your property in beautiful shrubberies with berries and fruits, and you will see wildlife naturally come, and you can enjoy it and study it and learn and watch it. And it's just so healing and so good for the soul to connect in that way.